Hello everyone, welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully you're having a great day. If you've been watching Larry's Anything Goes programming, you know that we are not only providing great financial intelligence content as much as possible by interviewing other financial professionals, professionals in the travel industry, real estate industry, etc. and so forth, but we provide various services when it comes to specific products that we sell, from anything that you would actually find on Amazon or actually at Walmart, etc. and so forth. And we are actually providing specific products due to today's current crisis and whatnot to ensure that we provide the right services and products that you need at a reasonable price when it comes to medical face masks, when it comes to hand sanitizer, and when it comes to latex gloves and things of that nature, and etc. and so forth, toilet paper, paper towels. But we have what you need. Also, family, don't forget that Larry's Anything Goes is a part of an affiliate marketing network known as Gold Standard Partners, where you have the opportunity to buy cryptocurrency and allow others to invest with you as becoming an affiliate marketing partner. And obviously, if they purchase a package with the program, you're able to make money off their package purchases and make money off of their crypto purchases and things of that nature. If you want to join, please follow the links in the description, and I'll give you a call as soon as you sign up and purchase a package, and we'll go from there. But definitely, it's all about the best way to make money moves is to have currency with one another and to ensure that currency is always being spoken of on all levels, so it benefits everyone and not just one specific person. That's a lot of things that people forget about. So think about joining the program and we'll be able to go from there. But if not, either way, it's always appreciated. And thank you for watching. And hopefully you guys have a great day and continuously make money moves so you don't live broke like a fool. Take care. As you can see, with our various products, we have our financial apparel. As you see, wearing There's Anything Goes t-shirt, financial intelligence is sexy, face masks, latex gloves, things of that nature, to obviously ensure the safety of you and your family all at the same time. We want to ensure that you get the best products and see the actual products that we're actually providing for you, and giving you another view of not only the shirts and the medical masks, but actually another view of actual latex gloves and the actual hand sanitizer. Because one thing we've learned throughout this unfortunate crisis is that we have to take more precautionary measures to ensure not only the safety for ourselves, but for our families. And having a great pair of hand sanitizers, latex gloves, and medical face masks will ensure that safety. And with all that being said, hopefully you guys will check out our online store. We have the various products that you see here. With a couple of clicks, especially if you're paying via PayPal, it makes life that much easier for you to purchase our various products, especially during this unfortunate situation. You see the apparel from Larry's Anything Goes. We have the medical products when it comes to hand sanitizer, latex gloves, medical face masks, and things of that nature, and various other products. So please check out Larry's Anything Goes. Support small local businesses. We greatly appreciate it, and hopefully that you have a good day. How goes the family? How goes it? Hopefully, you guys having a great and exceptional Sunday. Like I said, I'm doing my best to go live more on the weekends because that's when I know most people are, not most people, but a lot of people are off, and that's when I'm usually off from work. And I got more time to think, and the hustle and bustle of life, and trying to get things done, fulfilling orders, and working at my job and going to the gym. You try to, it's like I like to be able to focus when I do these live streams when I don't have to worry about um, my other, day to day things. So, if you're watching, do the great three things: like, share, and subscribe. If you're a subscriber, just like, comment. Let's keep it positive today. Like I said, we don't do Democrats and Republicans on this channel. We do check-ins and savings. We don't do conspiracy theories on this channel. We do, making a money move, regardless if you live in South America, South Africa, North America, Canada, Europe. You get the idea. All right. If you're about making money move, let money moves, then you're all right in my book. There's no other way to look at it. So if you're about economic empowerment, you're all right in my book. And bear in mind, yes, I'm saying forget about Kanye. Not saying don't care about Kanye. Don't not saying anything derogatory about Kanye West, because Kanye West is going to be Kanye West at the end of the day. I don't care. But I know with the media, they do a wonderful job of putting people in front of us that really, because I've been in on this multiple times, that really do not have one's, especially regular working people's economic interest at heart. They have their own interests at heart. And is there anything wrong with that? Absolutely not. And for whatever good that he does in this world, I'm not mad at him or whatnot. But um, one thing I can say before I even talk about these other black billionaires that I'm going to talk about today, one thing I can say with sincerity is that when in high school, I admired the rappers. I admired especially the rappers, quote unquote, who own their own businesses, own their own labels, like Damon Dash, Master P, and Dame Dash, Master P, Suge Knight, Russell Simmons, um, Baby from Cash Money, Dame Dash, all these people, Jay Z, they all stuck out to me because not only were they great entertainers, but they were great at talking about economic empowerment. The one thing I loved about seeing Master P, he was involved in sports, clothing, wrestling, what is it? Merchandise, movies. So he had his hands dipped into everything. Just like in today's world, he's in the food business now. So I'm not mad at the artists, that especially the ones who actually create businesses and actually employ people from the community, because those are the most powerful people. They make quote unquote our representatives from either party look irrelevant, because when you are a job creator, I don't care what your political, religious, whatever differences are, when you can create a job for somebody, that holds way more power than you just passing legislation, because that tells me you're in the percentile of a person who can write checks and not just have a big loud mouth. Okay. It's cool when you have a nice big loud mouth when you already are a billionaire and yourself, quote unquote, is economically together. But it's another thing when you are a regular working person, because that's what I represent. I come from regular upper middle class people. um that's why I represent the people that are about their business, the people that are about family, people about making moves. So when you're trying to get yourself established in the business world and trying to get a foothold, you don't have time to be yelling and spending so much time and putting controversial things out on Twitter for the sake of doing so. You're trying to be about your business, you're trying to be about your family, you're trying to be about your grind. You know, and it's like I said, the plot. But the thing, as I was saying, I'm going off on my tangent, but it is what it is. As I was saying, in high school, I admired those people. But the first book I ever read that I remember my mom bought me, and I'm still old fashioned when it comes to, I listen to podcasts all day, every day. Just finished listening to 19 Keys right now, but I just finished reading Nipsey Hussle's book. The marathon continues, don't stop. But anyways, I finished reading this book. But the first book I ever read, and I still have it, I remember my mom bought it for me when I was a freshman in high school. And I never read it because I was more into listening to music and watching movies than I was into reading. Now it's the total opposite. I don't feel right if I go a day without reading a book and listening to a podcast and whatnot. I feel weird. But anyways, I remember the first book I ever read was The History of African American Encyclopedia. It was awesome. I still have it to this day. It's because it reminds me this was the first. At that moment, I actually felt rejuvenated when I started that book in the middle of my junior year of high school, and I finished it at the end of the year because I wasn't in a rush to. But every day I'd come home from school and I would read that book. And the one thing I can say is I did not realize there were so many people from my community that had made so many great moves from an economic standpoint, from a career standpoint, going into space, being scientists, being engineers, owning storefronts, lawyers, judges, politicians, the whole nine. So a mixture of people with different mindsets and different, perspectives and whatnot, whether I agreed with them or not. But it was just cool to see that. And even to this day, I know in the social media world, the celebrities and politicians will get way more notoriety and visibility in the algorithm when it boils down to it than a person who is the quiet billionaires. As I learned today, that once a person gets to that status, they're not supposed to become louder. They're supposed to become much more quieter. There's a reason why you hear more from Elon Musk than you do Jeff Bezos. There's a reason why you heard more from Bill Gates. Heard more from Steve Jobs when he was alive than you did, rest his soul, than you did from Bill Gates, because different personalities. One, but money is really the quietest thing on the planet. And the one thing I can even say, mentioning Steve Jobs and even Mark Zuckerberg, they you see with the clothing that they wear, they're not wearing a bunch of jewelry. They're not, showing off all their fancy stuff and things of that nature. They could come in a room in a turtleneck, t-shirt, and jeans and sneakers, talking about making $1 billion moves. Okay, talk about making $1 billion moves. And me personally, I respect that. I admire that. I respect that. And, because money is not supposed to be loud, money is supposed to be very, very, very quiet. But a lot of times people just don't understand that. But I understand it. I respect it. And I think there's three black billionaires that aren't talked about enough. And usually when they are talked about, it's because of some political nonsense like, I don't care about your politics. All I care about is your economics. That's my mindset. I'm a grown man. I'm about to turn 40 in a couple of months. I don't got time for your politics. I need to know your economics, because who you spend your money with, who you bank with, holds way more power than who you vote for. And I'm gonna say that to the day I die. There's nothing wrong with voting. There's nothing wrong with being involved in the political process. But I tell you, man, the jokers that can write some checks, woo, they hold some serious power, brothers and sisters. It's Sunday, so I get bring a little church in here, but they hold some serious power. And I'm just going to leave it at that. It is what it is. Some people don't like when I say it, but reality is a reality. And a lot of people live in another galaxy and don't want to deal with the reality of life. They're stuck on planet Jupiter when they're really supposed to be living on planet Earth. You know what I mean? That's just my personal opinion, but I'll leave it at that. But anyway, so let's get into who, because like I said, you can talk about Kanye West, love him or hate him. That's your business. I don't care. But I want to talk about the black billionaires that aren't really talked about enough, because they actually know how to conduct themselves in a dignified, intelligent manner. And that's one of the probably the saddest things, is that a lot of times people don't want to talk about the people in the room that actually not only make sense, but the ones who can actually carry an intelligent conversation outside of just music and what's happening in their personal life. Because that's fine and whatnot, for those that just want to be entertained. But I don't want to be entertained. I want to be informed. That's why I love that, and I want to learn. That's why I love the saying infotainment. I like that because I don't mind being a little entertained, but I like to learn at the same time, man. If I go a day without learning, it's like my former coworker Kemp Lear said: "You go a whole day without learning something," and I'm sure he would appreciate this. Because it was he was one of my elders and whatnot. He said it. He said, "You go the whole day without learning something, Larry, then you basically failed for the day." And I totally agree with that. It's nothing wrong with wanting to be entertained, but it's so much better to be informed. And this is a man with two master's degrees and was working on his PhD just for the sake of working on his PhD. Okay. Anyways, let's talk about David L. Smith, founder and chairman of Worldwide Technology Incorporated. He says we must give back in order to move forward. Amen to that, brother. He was born in 1951, Chicago, Illinois, Chi-Town. He was raised on a farm in his mother's hometown of Clinton, Missouri. So he was raised in the big city, but raised on the farm. So he definitely is no stranger to hard work. He says, when my mother was ready To start high school, the local school in Clinton didn't allow black students. Her parents wanted her to finish her education, so she moved to Chicago. My grandfather did factory work in Chicago during WW2, which is when my parents met and married. Since I was the fifth of eight children, the last one born in the city, right after my birth, our family returned to good old Missouri, as they call Mizzou. Um, and this is so this is a beautiful thing. He comes from humble beginnings. He comes from humble beginnings. I like the fact that and I'm going to definitely show him in a second after I read more, but I like the fact that this is a tech billionaire that nobody talks about enough, who actually ironically comes from the same part of the country that Kanye West comes from. Even though I believe Kanye West was born in Atlanta, but he moved to Chicago later. But yeah. um I find this to be very interesting, how this person who's able to have who's billionaire status and is never really talked about enough. Matter of fact, let me show you what this person looks like. Because to me, people like this aren't, one, are not talked about enough, and two, it's cool to have a discussion about rappers, but do we really need to talk about them all the freaking time? Do they really need to be the subject matter of everyday conversation? Okay, at the end of the day, they're gonna have their own interests talked about. Their own interest is going to, whenever they're usually talking, their own interest is going to be put at the forefront. Is there anything wrong with that? Absolutely not. But we, as the listener, need to be able to be informed enough to know, is that, hey, he or she is saying this because they're really trying to get something out of it on their own. They're not trying to give back. And even if they are, they're still going to probably get a write off or something to that effect. Is there anything wrong with that? Absolutely not. But when you're informed in regards to what's really happening and what's really going on, you know how to act accordingly. It's like I say, hey, you go to work. All right, sorry about that, family. My Wi-Fi was acting up. But anyways, I was talking about David L. Stewart and all the great things that he's done, and how he comes from good humble beginnings of the Midwest, born in Chicago. So him and Kanye kind of have that thing. He grew up on a farm, though. Eventually, his family took him back to a small town in good old Missouri, as they know as Missoula. But he comes from great humble beginnings, and he's a gentleman that is no stranger to hard work. And he created worldwide web technology corporation, and he's a black tech billionaire. And I think that's awesome. I think people like him should be talked about even more so, on some realness. So because it's not, to me, they're not talked about enough. These celebrities don't need to be at the forefront of everything. In my personal opinion, I'm just going to leave it at that. They don't need that. Celebrities don't need to be at the forefront of everything. So, but anyways, let's see what we got. Let me show you what this gentleman actually looks like. Good old David L. Stewart. I want you guys just to get a good old picture of him, because I think the things that he's done and the things that he's doing, even though he's 71 years old now, but a lot of people are 71 years old and they could pass for 50 something years old. They're doing a lot of great things. So yeah, this is what the gentleman looks like, and he's doing a lot of great things. So let me get myself back in order. All right, awesome. So let's get back to the gentleman. Um, because actually, at the end of the day, his father was a mechanic, and he ran a janitorial service on the side, and hauled trash and coal with his truck. So his dad, he comes from entrepreneur stock. That's what's up. I like that. He comes from entrepreneur stock, and occasionally he worked as a night watchman or a guard, and also attended bar parties and whatnot. So and back then, like, I have to give a lot of credit to the resiliency of African Americans back, especially during that time frame, because if there was a way to get it, they were about getting their money. You know, they had to put up with a lot more crap, but they was about getting their money one way or the other. They was not, especially, having a bunch of children when they knew they had mouths to feed. And just imagine if he had that same kind of hustle and he didn't have all those kids, the amount of money he could have probably saved and did other things with. Not talking bad about having children, but I'm just saying. But I know back then having a bunch of kids, that was just a normal thing. It wasn't as expensive to raise a family back then compared to what it is today. Because he stated, and I quote, "My father was the first entrepreneur I ever knew," said Stewart. He was an entrepreneur out of necessity. He said, we probably would have qualified for welfare, but my father was proud and he did what he had to do to support his wife and children. He was a master mechanic and should have been able to make good money working at the nearby power company, but they weren't hiring people of color, i.e., black people. And my father and my mother was caring and committed to the next generation. Having two parents who understood their roles and their responsibility, and then watching them work together to provide for their family, made them the best teachers in the world. And I can agree with that statement more because I know there's a guy I work with, and he was telling me, asking me, maybe I should talk to this child about entrepreneurship, and I'm like, sure, but I said the thing is, your son's going to mimic what he sees, not what you tell him. Like, I can scream about things all day, every day, but it's about what I do. It's not what I say all the time. I know we live in the day of content is king and things of that nature, but you can spew a lot of things, but is it really gonna make waves? You know, that's just another thing to take into consideration. You know, that is another thing to take into consideration. But anyways, I just wanted to give you a small background about his parents and his great Midwestern upbringings and things of that nature. Seemed like he had a regular childhood. He was in the Boy Scouts as a kid. He was part of the small group of black students who integrated Clinton because he lived in Clinton, Missouri, swimming pools, and was the only African American male in his high school class. That had to been interesting, especially back in those days. Um, he actually played basketball in high school and at college at Central Missouri State University as a walk-on player. Um, and he was able to actually get a basketball scholarship. This is a good thing to hear about an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur who actually went to college on a basketball scholarship. And he graduated in 1973 with a degree in business administration. So he got a good education all at the same time in the field that obviously he was going to go into, entrepreneurship. Um, and he began his career in St. Louis, Missouri. Kept it in home, um, and he stayed with his older sister. And he actually hitchhiked to get to St. Louis to live with his older sister, who was actually a substitute teacher at the time. And he became an executive for the Boy Scouts of America for a short time and joined Wagner Electric Corporation in 1972. Um, and the company went out of business a year later. Stewart accepted a marketing and sales position with Missouri Pacific Railroad as its first person of color, i.e., black man, to sell rail services. In 1979, he joined the Federal Express as a senior account executive. Okay, so I see how he worked his way up. And just 2 years later, the company named him Salesman of the Year. So, and obviously, no wonder, because at the end of the day, a good entrepreneur is just a person that can sell a service or sell a product. That's what an entrepreneur is. I don't care how you slice and dice it. And if you're good at selling stuff, as long as it's not nonsense, I think anybody can be, for the most part, somewhat successful in the arena of being an entrepreneur. And let's see, in the 1984, he borrowed $2,000 from his dad and leveraged his railroad experience to launch transportation business specialists. And this is another thing, being able to, because even great example, Donald Trump borrowed money from his family in order to start his business. Is there anything wrong with that? Absolutely not. See, there's nothing wrong with being able to get money from your family and turn it into something. I remember Nelly, love him or hate him, had to borrow money from his mom and I think sister in order for him to continue to launch his rap career. But when he became successful, he told his mom, once he became successful, you can retire and you never have to work again. I never forget that. So It's supposed to be like a corporation. Family economics is what it's all about. You see these immigrants do it every single freaking day, and don't let anybody tell you any freaking difference. All right, family is supposed to operate like a corporation. CEOs, HR specialists, finance departments, legalese, the whole law enforcement, whatever have you, IT specialists, and then you're supposed to be working together, not competing against each other, which a lot of families do today, unfortunately. But anyways, I digress. He launched a transportation bureau specialist, and which basically the business audited and reviewed freight bill and overcharges for the rail industry. In 1987, he founded a sister company, Transport Administrative Service, which audited undercharges for railroad companies. So obviously, he worked in the railroad business, and then he saw a need to help make more the railroad industry much more efficient, and he created companies and used contacts and launched different services within the railroad business. So I think this is actually pretty freaking cool. And then by the 90s, Mr. Stewart actually created worldwide technology to distribute computer hardware, software services to the federal government. Okay, so we got those federal government contracts. Very smart man. I'm from the DMV. The federal government's made a lot of people rich. Love it or hate it, that's what it is. A lot of people make money moves, not only just the federal government, state government contracts, county government contracts, and city government contracts. All right. You want to see how money moves are made in the United States of America? There's public records of how contracts are distributed from the federal, state, county, and city level. Real talk. I'm not going to act like I'm an expert in it, but I know that I work with people that have had their own government contracting business, and I've seen people make money moves in that arena on various different levels. Hey, friend of mine has a contract with Harris County down in Texas, which is a part of Houston, Texas, and whatnot, with his landscaping business. So yeah, governments help make people millionaires in this country, whether people want to believe it or not. That's the beauty of a capitalist system. But anyways, um, and the worldwide technology known as WWT became the United States government's leading supplier of advanced technology solutions and one of Cisco's top partners in North America. That's what's up. That is what's up. Okay, and that's why I said it's like we idolize our artists too much when we should be idolizing our entrepreneurs more. All right, all right. The artist should be like this. The entrepreneur should be like this. That's why I looked at Nipsey Hussle's death was much more heartbreaking than not putting anything bad on Kanye West. But if I never heard from Kanye West again, it wouldn't affect my life. But the fact when Nipsey Hussle was killed, or even if Nipsey Hussle would have disappeared and we wouldn't have heard from him again, that would have been a heart wrench to the community because he was making economic moves and he was doing more than just talking about it. He was walking the walk instead of talking the talk. He wasn't spending all his time on social media doing nonsense. He was spending his time on social media promoting his business and helping people make money moves. That's what matters. All right. That's why I said if I hear a millionaire and billionaire not having a millionaire billionaire conversation, but they're having a dollar menu conversation, I don't want to hear it. And I'll leave it at that. Anyways, Mr. Stewart credits the free enterprise system in America's culture for most of his success in business. I agree. The breadth and depth of opportunities we have here, coupled with the culture that allows you to be all you can be, makes it possible for anyone to be successful. He says, we have competitive edge over the other countries, and it is important for us to preserve that. It's a great time. It's great that my story is only one of millions in America. He says, I feel blessed to live in this great country. And he says, when it boils down to what played the most important roles is his Christian faith and his belief in family, and obviously his family helping each other out all at the same time. Um, and he was actually what was it? He was actually credited by former President um, George H.W. Bush. He actually says his story of success optimizes the American dream and is an example of inspiration to us all. So I just got to give credit where credit is due. You know, I think this is a beautiful story that's not told enough. And he served on numerous committees, including Civil Progress of St. Louis. So he's been giving back to his community. St. Louis Regional Chambers and Growth Association, Regional Business Council, Webster's University, St. Louis Sciences Center, United Way of Greater St. Louis Executive Committee. So, St. Louis Area Council of Boy Scouts of America. So all what is it? Harris Stowe State University African American Business Leadership Council. He's won an honorary doctorate in humanitarian humane letters from 3 institutions, obviously all those universities that I just mentioned. And I think this is a beautiful thing, and it's a story that should be told more because to me, people like this should be talked about more, and people like others should be talked about less, and not really even thought of because it's just wasting our times. He stated, and I quote, "I believe it takes a community to raise a child." He says, "Serving in our communities is the responsibility we all share. We have a personal obligation to help the next generation because they are the future of this great nation. This is why I'm so honored to become a member of the Horatio Alger Association. I want to be a part of the scholar program and to let them know that we are here to support them in the goals of higher education. We believe in them and we believe in the future of America." So look up a great man known as David L. Stewart. Don't care what your political beliefs are. All I care about your economic beliefs. And if you're hiring people in the community and helping people get educated in regards to business, investing, and all that great stuff, then you're all right in my book. I leave it at that. I keep it very, very simple. I don't need to know the other nonsense that's involved. Okay, because as far as I'm concerned, in 2022, being a Democrat and Republican is just a waste of time. Especially for me. So I just leave it at that. But keep up the good work. Definitely look up this great man, and go from there because he's not talked about. My personal opinion is just not talked about enough, and he should be. So I leave it at that. All right. So next person I'm going to be. Hey, what's up, King? How you doing, man? Thanks for always showing love, man. Just being here, that's good enough for me, man. It always contributes to the channel. So thanks for the love, brother. Always greatly appreciate that. All right. So now I'm going to be talking about a gentleman that I don't think gets talked about enough. The most he's been notarized. The first time I actually heard of him, and I wish I heard of this gentleman beforehand, was before this is not 2019, right before the pandemic. Robert F. Smith, who is the chairman and CEO. He directs Vista's investment strategy and decisions, governance, and investor relations. And he's basically a serial entrepreneur, venture capitalist, and he's been making a lot of great money moves. He's actually from Denver, Colorado, but I believe he resides in Austin, Texas, right now, and I'm not mad at him at all. And I remember the first time I heard of him was back when he paid the tuition off of the students who were graduating class of Spelman, a Morehouse Spelman College and whatnot. Um, and down in Atlanta, Georgia. And that was a big, beautiful thing because, most of the students that were graduating, just like in any other class, they have a tremendous amount of student loan debt. And, the fact that he did that and he's been helping bring capital to other African American businesses and ventures and things of that nature. Because it's basically just, obviously people realize what venture capitalism is basically what you see on the show, the great show that I love to watch, Shark Tank, with all the characters on there. They're listening to business proposals. If they decide to become an investor in the business, then basically they're going to get a certain percentage from that business and go from there. If they're into it, you see Mark Cuban do it. Dame Dash has done it, but Damon Johns and Barbara Cochran and all those people that are on that great show. So that's just one thing I wanted to put out there. But anyways, he has a lot of endeavors. He sits on investment committees all over the place. And, he, like I said, he has a private equity management committee and his firm's decision making body for matters affecting Vista's overall private equity platform. Vistas currently manages equity assets under management of over $94 billion and oversees a portfolio of more than 80 enterprise software, data, and technology enabled companies that employ over 90,000 people worldwide. Since Vista's inception, Mr. Smith has supervised over 585 completed transactions, representing more than $276 billion in aggregate transaction values. Now, I really don't need to go into any more depth because Robert F. Smith is well known, but the fact that you see he made all these great deals and he rarely even does public speaking because I believe a real billionaire has got more important things to do than just get online and complain, like most regular working people do. I just don't think he has that kind of time and whatnot. But some people beg to differ, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some people beg to differ, nothing wrong with that. But anyways, if you don't know what Mr. Robert F. Smith looks like, let me show you what it looks like. All right. But yeah, he's been making a lot of great money moves for a long time, and I got nothing but love and respect for him. Like I said, he was born in Denver, Colorado. Now he resides in Austin, Texas, and he has businesses all over the world. All right, not just America, but all over the world. And he's been, because he actually used to work for Goldman Sachs. He worked within the venture capital space as an employee, and then obviously became a venture capital himself. Obviously people don't know Goldman Sachs is an tech investment banking, and obviously first it was in New York City, and then in Silicon Valley, and as a co-head of enterprise systems and storage, he executed Mr. Smith and devised over $50 billion in merger and acquisitions activity within companies such as Apple, Microsoft, Texas Instruments, eBay, and Yahoo. He was the first person at Goldman Sachs San Francisco office to focus solely on mergers and acquisitions of technology and software companies. All right, and because he's been around for a while. Because back in 2000, he founded Vista Equity Partners, and obviously I've already talked about what Vista Equity Partners has done as a whole. But these are the people we should be talking about, especially when it comes to quote unquote black billionaires, not celebrities that just want to be loud and proud and just discuss their own agenda and whatnot. What are you doing economically to come back? And I'm not coming at Kanye, I'm just coming at regular working people. I'm like, if you really want to listen to the smartest person in the room, usually the smartest person in the room is the quietest person in the room and not the loudest one. And I just leave it at that. Okay. That's just on some realness. So last but not least, before I end this broadcast today, because like I'm knocking these out because like I'm going on vacation this week. Still be working, but I just won't be going live as much. I'll just be working on other things that that pay. You know how it is. You gotta go where the money's at. So Robert L. Johnson, love him or hate him, I liked when he actually owned the that's back when BET had some real flavor to it and wasn't this most of this nonsense you have today. Because the only reason why most people would even watch BET is for a show reboot or old shows from back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Because most of today's sitcoms basically suck. If we're just gonna keep it real, they're basically terrible. But born in 1946, can't believe he's that old. And I didn't realize he was from Hickory, Mississippi. Obviously founder of Black Entertainment Television and the first African American majority owner of a major professional sports team in the United States of America. Um, and he's from Mississippi, but he actually grew up in Freeport, Illinois. And if you don't know, but actually he made his bones when he really moved to Washington D.C. back in the 70s. And obviously, most people don't realize that BET headquarters used to be in Washington D.C. That's where I remember as a kid going to D.C. and driving by BET's headquarters and whatnot. So he's been and he's a big time venture capitalist, owns golf courses, hotels, a bunch of commercial real estate all over the world, even in Africa. I believe he used to own a resort in Liberia. Um, he's been making a lot of money moves in a lot of various different areas. He's been hiring his own people for a long time. So I just got to give love and respect to that. You know, I got to give credit where credit is due at the end of the day. A lot of times people will be like, well, he's a Republican. So what? I don't care. All I care about is his economics. You can be an independent, do what you do. I don't do politics. I do check-ins and savings. So I just wanted to highlight that and, just really get into people because to me, I don't mind listening to a celebrity every now and then. A lot of them can be very intelligent, but a lot of times I do actually like to listen to people that actually sound like they actually read books and listen to actually into conversations and not just talk to people they just listen to music all day and they just spend their whole time in the studio and whatnot. We're not really going to have much in common for one because I don't make music and I'm not in the studio. I make money off of having a job and selling products, making content on a rental property. So I can't. I like to have intelligent conversations that's actually going to elevate me. Call me crazy. Um, but anyways, y'all see. Let's see if we can try to get you. If you want to chime in, brother, if you're still watching, let's see if we can get you to chime in here, man. Because I know I tried to get you to chime in last time. I figured we could just chop it up real quick because I'm about to call it a day. About to hit the gym up and whatnot, and I just got a couple of orders on my online store. So, got to get back to business. But see if you can click the link, brother. If not, I'm definitely gonna call it a day. If you're watching, family, do the great free things, like, share, and subscribe. Let me know if there's any other billionaires out there who's having billion-dollar conversations. Because the funny thing is, most of the time, most billionaires in this world are not spending that a lot of time on social media like that. They're not just putting out posts on Twitter and Instagram, and they're working, they're learning, they're earning, they're growing. They're taking it to the. I mean, how many videos do you see Elon Musk really make on social media? How many videos do you really see Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg make on Dame Johns, Robert, like I said, Robert F. Smith, all these people that I've mentioned? How many videos do you see these people really making? But yeah, y'all seen if you want to, yeah, just click the link in the chat. You should be able to come right up, and if you want to pop in. But if not, I'm gonna call it a day. But yeah, just like how many times do you see these people posting on videos on social media? These people are they're being productive. They're having closed door business meetings. They're spending time with their families. They're just this social media thing. A lot of times we all, and I'm guilty of this myself, we can get a little too crazy with it, and we spend a little too much time in it. And a lot of, as Dave Chappelle said, one of my favorite comedians, he's like, look, it's not, Twitter's not a real person, so stop acting like it is. It's a business. Now, I know people can be corporations, but let's just calm it down. It ain't that serious. And for me, Twitter is just something I put my content on and try to sell products and get more subscribers. It's not outside of that. I can't take Twitter too seriously outside of that, because it's just nothing but a game. But on that note, family, do the great 3 free things. Like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully you guys have a great day. I'm gonna call it a day. Y'all seeing, always greatly appreciate your support to the channel. From watching, the liking, the cash apps, greatly appreciate that. If anybody else want to contribute, my cash app is in the ticker. Hit up the Venmo, hit up the PayPal, all that great stuff. But always remember, stay true to yourself. Don't take entertainment overboard. And remember that there's a lot of other people making a lot of great money moves out here that you will not ever, ever, ever recognize. Trust and believe that, because they're not making the noise. The most quietest people on the planet. A lot of times they could even look like a person who's doing landscaping, mechanic work, garbage person, whatever, working at a hospital, and next thing you know, you're sitting next to a billionaire. Okay, if you look at that old scene from Forrest Gump or whatnot, you're supposed to be the owner of Bubba Gump Shrimp, and the guy was laughing at him when they was at the bus stop. He's like, "You're not the owner of Bubba Gump Shrimp." And Forrest Gump's like, "Yeah, we got more money than blah blah blah." And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And he's just like, "Man, I heard some lies in my day, but man, yeah, we were just sitting next to a millionaire." And back in the '70s, sitting next to a millionaire was like sitting next to a billionaire. So, but because he wasn't flashy. So I'll leave it at that. But anyways, on that note, I'm out of here. Take care, family. Have a great, successful day. Have a great, successful weekend, week, and just be productive. I'll leave it at that. All right. On that note, I'm out. Take care.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.